Welcome to my first movie recap. Today, I would like to share with you the story of a war film from 1998 titled Saving Private Ryan. The movie begins with an elderly gentleman walking through a cemetery and being immensely emotional with his family by his side. The rolling scenes then starts a reflection of a story through the eyes of Captain John H. Miller, where his team, Company C, 2nd Ranger Battalion, and several other teams of US Army land at Omaha Beach on the morning of June 6, 1944. This operation is part of the mission for Normandy invasion. As you may have seen in my reaction video, the moments ensuing the landing at the beach offer some brutally realistic and heartbreakingly sad scenes of war. Despite the heavy losses incurred, Captain Miller's team succeeds in capturing the beach post from the German Nazi troops. Meanwhile, the United States Department of War in Washington, D.C. have gotten busier sending bereavement notices to thousands of families who have lost their sons at war. The department then learns that James Francis Ryan of the 101st Airborne Division is missing and presumed to be the last survivor of 4 brothers of one family who are all in the military. This proved to be one of the saddest scenes of the movie for me, for which you can find full-length reaction over at Patreon. You can find the links to my Patreon and my YouTube movie reaction over in the description box of this video and also in the pinned comment below. Moving on to the story, to avoid the family from losing all its children to war, an army general sends in orders to locate Private Ryan and bring him back home. With the top orders being sent, Captain Miller at Omaha Beach is ordered to lead a detachment in finding Ryan. In this mission, Miller is joined by Sergeant Howard, Private Capazzo, Private Jackson, Private Reuben, Private Mellish, T4 Medic Private Wade, and Corporal Upham as an interpreter. As they arrive in the disputed town of Newville, Private Capazzo, who had an emotional connection with one of the kids in the village, is shot and killed by a German sniper. Miller and his men find a paratrooper named Ryan, but are disheartened to learn that the man is not the one for whom they are searching for. Miller and the team learn that Ryan is defending a key bridge in the town of Ramelle. En route to Ramelle, Miller decides against the judgment and agreement of his soldiers to neutralize a German machine gun nest. This decision of Miller results in the death of medic Private Wade. This was another extremely emotional scene as the soldier begs to see his mother and wanting to go home. During this mission of a detour, a surviving German soldier is spared by the intervention of Upham, who is a clerk in the military, hence a stranger to the horrors of combat. Miller blindfolds the soldier, who is nicknamed Steamboat Willie, and orders him to surrender to the next Allied patrol. However, the loss of Private Wade and also the release of this German soldier sours the relationship amongst the men, especially between Reuben and Miller. A heated argument sees Sergeant Howard almost shooting Private Reuben. To gently diffuse the heated conversation, Miller starts sharing stories about his civilian life with the men. Since his private life had been a mystery to all men in his team, his voluntary approach of this informal chat results in bringing the team back together and strengthening their spirit to move forward as a team. I personally admire his approach in handling this unfavorable situation as a leader. Upon arriving in Ramel, Miller's detachment makes contact with Ryan and informs him of his brother's death. Though visibly shaken by the news, Ryan refuses to abandon his post and fellow soldiers as they are short of resources and are in dire need of reinforcement to avoid Germans taking over the bridge. Instead of returning to Omaha Beach to report Ryan's decision of not leaving his post to the general in Washington, D.C., Miller and his unit stay back and fight alongside the 101st as the German armor advantage takes a toll on the Americans. Despite having the advantage of surprise and being able to ambush the German forces, the Nazi armor advantage results in the loss of Jackson, Malish, and Howard, along with almost all the members of 101st. On the other hand, Corporal Upham sadly gets to see what real war can be and have some traumatic experiences during this operation. You can hear my takeaway on Upham's experience in my commentary and review after the full-length reaction over at Patreon. In an attempt to destroy a bridge with pre-placed explosives, Miller is shot and critically wounded by the pre-released prisoner of war who is called Steamboat Willie. As the Germans approach the bridge, American fighter planes, tanks, and infantry overpower them and end their advance. Upham comes directly across some Nazi soldiers, including Steamboat Willie, who begins to try talking Upham into letting him go. However, Steamboat Willie becomes the first man to be taken down by Upham. Again, this is the questionable morality of war, as Upham's first and only kill during this war is the very prisoner that he fought so hard to be released before. Before dying from his wounds, Miller whispers to Ryan's ears to having earned this, referring to the sacrifices others have made so Ryan can experience a post-war life. Ryan is then revealed to be that elderly gentleman, the elderly veteran from the beginning of the film, and the grave where he becomes extremely emotional to be Miller's. Ryan expresses gratitude for the sacrifices made by Miller and his men and says he hopes he has lived a suitable life post-war that earned all the sacrifices that were made on his behalf. The story ends. This movie is undoubtedly the most emotional movie I have ever watched. Having heard this recap of the story, I hope you are keen to watch the movie as well. You can find the edited version of my reaction to this movie at my YouTube channel through the link appearing at the top of the video now. You can find my full-length reaction, which is totally ad-free, uncut, and includes the full movie, my full reaction, along with my full review and commentary over at my Patreon. The links to my Patreon are mentioned in the description box and also in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a lovely day.